Hello and welcome to Fishy Tales. Chibi Tales, the #1 channel among the Swedish fish demographic. We've got some pretty petty stories from r/PettyRevenge for you this time. Trust me, you'll smell it. Our first story for the day comes from user Remorseful Survivor, where one Karen gets more than her fair share of Swedish cuisine. So in college they had these residential units, mostly filled with freshmen and sophomores, with 4 two-bed bedrooms off of a common area that included a living room of sorts, as well as a kitchenette with a microwave, 2-burner electric cooktops, fridge and sink. There is only one building that had these units for some reason. A fellow student named Andy liked tuna sandwiches as they were cheap. He would buy these really huge cans, make up a large bowl of tuna mush, cover it well, and leave it in the fridge and have tuna sandwiches for a couple of days off of the one can. Tuna is tasty after all, so nobody could possibly object. But Karen, in her own mind at least, is a nobody. So she could object, and was heard more than once complaining about the stupid tuna taking up space in the generally empty fridge. Nobody knew what her specific objection was. She just didn't like the tuna. So one day, Andy opens up the fridge to get out the bowl of tuna he had made the day before, and it was missing. He called out, "Hey, where'd my tuna go?" And Karen shouted back, "It was stinking up." What the fuck was that? "It was stinking up the place, so I threw it out." Really? It wasn't stinking anything up, and she had never before complained about the smell. And that was at least 2 more days worth of sandwiches, so Andy was quite pissed. But being a quiet and mild kind of guy, he didn't confront Karen, just sighed and went off to graze on the lawn or something. Now Karen wasn't above her own canned foods. In one of the cupboards, there was a motley collection of fruit cocktail, peaches, and other quick and easy foods that could be eaten out of the can. She'd grab one, open it up, and then scurry off into her room to do whatever it is she did in there. And this is the foundation of the revenge. There exists on this planet, for some reason, a food called surströmming. Surströmming. That thing. A Swedish food, it is fermented herring that comes in a can. In Sweden, there's actually a law prohibiting you from opening a can of this stuff on the plane. I've been told that a lot of people will put the can underwater before opening it. It is the nastiest, foulest smelling WTF on the planet. As fate would have it, Andy procured a can from somewhere. It was determined that it was not hard to steam the label off of one of Karen's cans and glue it onto this one. And that's exactly what he did. Have you ever heard a 19-year-old utter an absolutely horrific scream, gag, and wrench in the late afternoon? I doubt anyone told her the trick of opening the can underwater. But then again, she was thinking it was peaches or pears or something else. Brilliant! Except, Andy didn't realize that the stench would permeate all of the bedrooms, and the outside hallway, and a couple of the surrounding units, and could be smelled outside thanks to the windows that were thrown open. He took some hate for this from the neighbors. But as for Karen, Andy told her what it was in the can. Then he told her why he had done it. Then he showed her that he still had a couple more cans in his arsenal of stench. No threats were uttered, but threats were definitely implied. Her face went pale, and she said not another word. At the end of the semester, Karen transferred to another unit somewhere, and was never seen again. But before that happened, Andy would occasionally steam off a label from a can of peaches, and either leave it in Karen's cupboard lying loose on a shelf, and in one occasion, did an intentionally poor job of gluing it onto a can of the stinkfish, so it was clearly obvious what it was. At the end of the semester, they always had a donation box where students would drop off unused cans and boxes of unexpired food that would be donated to a food pantry or something. It was noted that Karen had dropped in a dozen or so cans that she had bought, but never opened for some reason. Did you know that surströmming is actually banned in Swedish planes? Not because it stinks, but because the cans can apparently explode? That must have been a fun day for TSA agents. Would you ever be down to open a can of surströmming? Comment below and let me know if you're one of those brave souls. Our next story comes from user Count Mountjoy, where a former employee does what it takes to get his sleep. I heard this story from a coworker. Some years ago, his phone rang at 3 a.m. It was the mainframe computer operator from a job he had left 2 years earlier. Apparently, his name was still on the emergency contact list for some application. He told the operator he didn't work there anymore and suggested he update the contact list and went back to sleep. A week later, he got another 3 a.m. call from a different operator at the same company. He explained, a little less politely, that he had left the job and suggested, more strongly, that he update the contact list. The next morning, he called his old boss, who was still at the old job, and told him what had happened. The boss apologized and said they had a new operations manager who required several levels of approval for all changes. The request to update the contact list was working its way through the bureaucracy. 2 nights later, he got the third 3 a.m. call, and this time he had had enough. He just told the operator that to fix the problem, he had to shut down the entire mainframe, and the quickest way to do that was to push the big red button on the console. Easy as that. Turns out, that was the last time he was called. You know, to be fair, who likes being woken up at 3 in the morning? Other than Patrick Star, I suppose?
What a stupid idea! Who wants a Krabby Patty at 3 in the morning?
Oh boy, 3 a.m.
Would you wake up at 3 a.m. for anyone? Who is that person? Let me know in the comments. Our last story comes from user Way Behind, where you learn that revenge is a dish best served 30 days later? This happened around 2011. I was paying my business bills using the Wells Fargo online payment system. Back then, these systems were not very sophisticated, and somehow, I did not notice the missing decimal point and accidentally sent the electric company $15,000 instead of $150. The very next day, I received the overdraft email notice and I quickly realized my mistake. Oh no. Oh no no. Oh no 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 no. I got on the phone immediately and called my electric company. As usual, dealing with big corporation was a nightmare. I was dealing with 2 different departments as nobody wanted to deal with my situation. I begged them to return my money ASAP as I overdrafted my account and needed to pay my other bills and business expenses. Unfortunately, they did not care, and I was told that, as per their company policy, they have to wait 30 days before sending me the refund. About 30 days later, I finally received the refund check for $15,000. To my surprise, a couple of days later, I received a second check for another 15 grand. It turned out, the company was even more disorganized than I thought, and as I was dealing with 2 departments, they both sent me a $15,000 check. Unsure of what to do, I decided to treat them with their own medicine and deposited both checks. About a week later, I received a call from the electric company asking me to refund the second check immediately. Ooh, my turn. I assured the arrogant lady I was dealing with the whole time that I will be more than happy to refund the extra 15 grand I received from them. But, as per our company policy, I will have to wait 30 days before I can do so. Boom! Honestly, When you bank an extra 15 grand, you just change your identity and run away to Mexico. Am I right? Or you could be lame and return that money later. Tomato, tomato. That was r/PettyRevenge. And if you liked this video, be sure to smash that like button and share it with your friends because it really helps my channel grow. And if you'd like to see more Petty Revenge stories brought to life, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss my next video. Thanks for watching and see you all in the next episode of Fishy Tales. No wait, god damn it.